Do you ever feel like you need a PhD in gearology to ride a bike? There's so many bike snobs out there that are very particular, but I'm here to introduce you to the 630 EVRY Journey. Now, this is a electric e-bike. You may say, well, it doesn't really look like an electric e-bike, and that's kind of the point. They claim that this is the most comfortable, easy to ride e-bike ever. Is it true? I don't know. I'm gonna go find out. Now, one of the first things that you'll notice about this e-bike is the look. It looks like a cruiser, and I love cruisers. The other cruiser that I've tested out, it's called the Santa Monica. It's very similar to this e-bike in a lot of different ways. Obviously this one's black, that one is white. That one is a lot less expensive. This retails for about $1,400. There's some special deals, actually retails for $2,000. I think when I checked today it was $1,400. Usually find a sale on these e-bikes. But let me walk you through a couple components of the e-bike, tell you what I think about them and what you should know, because this is a little bit unique. So let's walk through the features. All right, one of the other things you'll notice, besides it being just a cruiser looking e-bike, it's actually fairly lightweight, especially up front. Most of the weight is gonna be though, however, in the back. And that's because this is the battery. And obviously that is the motor. It's got a 500 watt motor. I don't think it is branded. It is not that I can see there. It's got a 7-speed transmission here. It's got some nice bright chrome-ish pedals. It looks really good. It's got a nice adjustable seat. Has a lot of extra accessories if you do want that sort of thing. It's got a very just simple LCD display that's right here. It does have that 7-speed shifter. But one of the things that I've been spoiled by with so many other e-bikes recently is hydraulic brakes. And this has mechanical disc brakes. Nothing wrong with them, but if you are spoiled like I am on the mechanical disc brakes, then you're gonna be just a little bit disappointed when you try out some mechanical ones. Not that big of a deal. The battery design in the back has always been interesting to me. Now, one, a lot of times they're in the middle, makes it a little bit bulkier battery. I like they can spread out the space a little bit more. I mean, you can't really have this big of a battery on, right here, but it lets it be nice and flat. But all the weight is in the back of the bike, which is important to know as you go for a ride and you test it out here. It does have a twist throttle here, not twist throttle, a little thumb throttle here. The shifter is right there. But let's go take this for a spin. I'll tell you exactly what I think and what you need to know. Let's go. All right, it is a little bit of a warmer day here in Colorado, so let's go take this for a spin. Hopefully I'll find some shade. It won't be too hot. Hopefully my camera won't overheat like I did last time I did a review on a hotter day. Let's go for a spin. Let's go for a ride. Beep, beep, meow, meow. All right, now, I don't know if this is something that I set up incorrectly, but in first testing this out down here, I was only able to get up to about 15 miles an hour, unless that's kilometers. No, there's 16. So I'll see what's going on, see if I can get it up to its full speed of about 20 miles an hour. And let's go take this for a little spin on some trails, which this is really designed for. It is not designed to be a mountain bike or even just like a road warrior bike. I mean, it's got some pretty decently good sized tires actually in front, and I like them. It's good. There's no front suspension. This is solely made for trail and street riding. I would say this bike is probably best for someone that's only riding a handful of miles a day. Not someone that's gonna be riding 20, 30 miles every single day. It's just not made for that. Whoa. And as I have to go off-road, because there's a tree in the way. Now, one thing I have noticed about a lot of e-bikes, and this bike is no different, is that the gears are not as relevant as you would think they would be. Now this is once again a, what did I say, 7-speed Shimano transmission here. And I just don't use it because even at the highest gear, where it's supposed to be the most difficult, it's just not difficult whatsoever when you are riding an e-bike because you got that pedal assist. Now, if you don't use pedal assist, I had someone tell me that I gave an e-bike to you, they do not like to use the motor at all unless they absolutely need to. And I say to them, good for you, bucko, good for you, because I'm not that manly, honestly, I'm not. Oh yeah, this is like the perfect little trail for today. It's slightly shady, it's by some water over here. It's not nighttime yet because there's a lot of mosquitoes. We've got a ton of rain here in Colorado. But this e-bike just kind of gets up and goes. Now, I had the same complaint about the other cruisers that I tested, and that the display is way over here. It just makes it a little bit harder to see. Now, as I did talk about with the Nakado, or not Nakado? Yeah, Nocto, whatever it is, Santa Monica, the display is over here, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to see. It is slightly backlit. There is no light that came with it. But yeah, it works. That is another thing that I've noticed. I've tried out a couple of e-bikes with this rear battery on the back. Hey, little guy. You know, the weight is predominantly in the back. And once again, that's okay as a whole. But when you go over bumps, you're gonna feel a little bit more because that's where all your weight is. Not a big deal, not a deal killer by any stretch of the imagination. But this bike has a decent little get up and go. You know, on their website, they say this is has a moderately aggressive stance or riding style to it. And I definitely would not say it's aggressive at all. It's pretty easy, pretty low key. And that probably brings me to what I like the most about 630, is they're obsessed with not making you feel like an idiot for not knowing every possible thing there is about bikes. And a lot of the bike manufacturers do. They're like, oh, well, this is a blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I just want to ride a bike and have fun. And that is what I love about 630. They're decent e-bikes. They're not super high end. They're not super cheap either. And they just ride real easy. Another great thing about this e-bike is they have a 30-day, yes, you heard me correctly, a 30-day return policy. Most e-bikes have like a 7-day, 14-day, and that's barely enough to get the bike, package it up, try it out, and see if you really like it. So I love the fact they have a 30-day return policy, and I've heard all kinds of horror stories from other brands, but this is one that they really do stand behind their product, and they're really all about getting you the right fit. Now, I'm not sure I could say this is the most comfortable e-bike I've ever tested. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. And I really do think they're trying to attract a certain kind of rider with this. And I don't know, it's probably the kind of person that doesn't know anything about e-bikes, is super apprehensive about them, at least this one, and want something from a brand that they can know and trust. That sounds great, right? Who would not want that? I'm not quite sure why this bike is not going up to its maximum speed. I'm gonna have to reach out to them and find out. So I reached out to 630 and they said that the 20 miles an hour listed is up to 25 miles per hour, depending upon weight, terrain, etc. And I was able to get this bike up to about 17 or 18 miles an hour. But just know that going into it, it's actually fully explained. There wasn't something wrong with my bike, but just something to know about. It's got, like I said, a 500 watt motor. It has a range of about, I think it's 30 to 50 miles. All that depends on so many different variables like your weight and everything else. But This is for a very particular type of e-bike rider. I love the tools they have on their website. I love that they want to make sure you find the right height for your e-bike. And they also offer bikes that are not e-bikes, which is kind of cool too. I dig that quite a bit. Once again, for $2,000, you should be able to get a little bit more e-bike than this, I would think. For $1,400, it makes it a little bit better and more palatable of a deal. I wouldn't say it's the greatest deal ever, but I definitely prefer this e-bike over the Santa Monica for sure. Yeah, I do notice I'm just a little bit, especially on the turns, I don't know if it's the back weight or where I'm kind of the riding height of this. I'm a little bit more concerned on turns than I am with some other e-bikes in here. May also be just because the brakes are not quite what I would like them to be. But once again, the gears do not make a difference if you're using pedal assist. I know it seems silly, but the difference between 15 and 20, I know it's 5 miles an hour, but it is considerable. I mean, it is 5 more miles an hour out of 15 is a third more. And that's considerable. And I can definitely feel the difference, especially, I don't know if you saw the kids that were behind me there, but they catching up on me, but it is a big difference that I wouldn't necessarily think about, but you need to. All right, let's take this up the hill test like we normally do. I'm in the highest gear, highest pedal assist level setting. No problem. I mean, it's not as peppy. I've said this a couple different times about a couple different bikes. You know, if you've never ridden an electric bike before, you would never know the difference between a hill climb. That handled it just fine. You know, I wouldn't give it an A+. Probably give it like a B- or so on the hill climb, maybe a B. Nothing bad, just not super aggressive. But once again, that's the whole point of this e-bike. The point of this e-bike is you should not and do not need a PhD to ride this e-bike in gearology. You just don't. You can ride this e-bike knowing nothing about electric bikes. You can put it together knowing next to nothing about electric bikes. They've got great instructions. And you can even find the perfect fit for you on this bike just by going to their website. They've got it all figured out for you. Take all the guesswork out of buying an electric bike, and I like that. Once again, I've said this 10,000 times. There is no such thing as the perfect e-bike. However, there probably is the perfect e-bike for you. Check it out. If you have any questions or comments, let us know in the comments below, and I hope to see you again real soon.